It's June the 12th. Let's read the Bible. Welcome back, friends, to this year-long journey. We hopped on the Bible bus in January. Here we are we're coming close to the middle of June, and the Bible bus today has brought us to 1 Chronicles chapter 4. If you liked yesterday, you're going to love today. We've got more names. But before we do that, let me just share with you something. I've been encouraging you to share these videos with your friends, and one of my buddies, Chris, did this. He wants his friends, he's on Facebook, he wanted to recommend this Bible reading project to his friends, and so he shared one of the days of Bible reading. He shared one of these videos that's on Facebook, but this is, when you hit the share button, he added this, still loving this Bible bus journey I'm on with Pastor Ray Pritchard. If you haven't joined or you would like to, then just go to www.keepbelieving.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble. You can also listen on Apple, Google, or Spotify Plus. It is absolutely free. That's fantastic. If I had written that, it couldn't be better than that. So thank you, Chris, for doing that. And I encourage you, if you're on Facebook, and I suppose most of you are, take today's reading or any reading you want, any of these videos, and hit the share button, but add some comments. Just say something so your friends know why you're sharing it. And I think a lot of them will join us as we read through the Bible together. Now, one thing, and we're just going to jump right in, because today it's chapters 4, 5, and 6 of 1 Chronicles. Remember, the first 9 chapters are all genealogy. They start, the genealogy starts in chapter 1. The very first word is Adam. We go from Adam to Abraham to Isaac to Jacob and to the boys, to the 12 tribes, the sons and the 12 tribes. Along the way, we stop and we check out the descendants of Esau. The descendants live on Mount Seir, an Edomite territory. And you know, as you can tell, you've got a lot of names in here, and this one's son and this one father. And clearly Ezra, the scribe, who writes this about 430 BC, he's fleshing out the story. The image that really helps me is the one I shared yesterday. It's like climbing into the attic of Israel's history. Remember, when the Jews came back from Babylon, they came back in disarray to disarray. They came back from captivity to total desolation. The whole structure of the nation, the whole structure was just up in the air because the northern 10 tribes, so many of those families had just disappeared with the Assyrian captivity several hundred years earlier, and now everything was up in the air. From being really the center of the world, which is how the Jews thought of themselves in Jerusalem and Solomon's temple, now they were under Gentile domination completely. I mean, does God still have a plan? And what God is doing here, what Ezra's doing here, he's taking the old yearbook of Israel and he's blowing the dust off and saying, let me give you a genealogy going all the way back to the beginning, so that when we finally get here to the post-exilic period, 430 BC, you'll understand who we are, you'll understand where we are, and most of all, you'll understand how we got here in God's plan. Mostly to say to the Jewish people of 430 BC, roughly, God has not forgotten us. So we finished yesterday, and we got down to David, and then down through David and Solomon and the kings and the exile and the people after the exile, got basically down to Ezra's day. So what happens in chapter 4? Now we're going to start going through tribe by tribe, Judah, and Simeon, and Reuben, and you're just going to see this. He's going to give us the genealogies by the tribes, and he especially is going to pay attention to the Levites and the descendants of Aaron, because those are the ones who are going to serve in the rebuilt temple. Because that rebuilt temple under Zerubbabel, it was a great blessing, but it was a shadow of what the glories of Solomon's temple was. And it was very easy for the people of God to feel forgotten and to feel as if, why even bother? So Ezra wants to know you got a great heritage, and your heritage is proof that you were here by God's purpose. He's got a great future for you. Little do the people know that ultimately all of this is going to point to the coming son of David, the Lord Jesus Christ. But that's still centuries in the future. So we begin in 1 Chronicles chapter 4, the tribe of Judah. Judah's sons, Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Rei, son of Shobal, fathered Jahath, and Jahath fathered Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zoraites. These were Etam's sons, Jezreel, Ishma, and Idbash, and their sister was named Hazel El Ponai. Penuel fathered Gedor, and Ezer fathered Hushah. These were the sons of Hur, Ephrathah's firstborn, and the father of Bethlehem. Asher fathered Tekoa and had two wives, Elah and Naarah. Naarah bore Ahuzam, Hefer, Tamini, and Ha'ahashtarai to him. These were Naarah's sons, Helah's sons, Zerath, Zohar, and Ethnan. Kaz fathered Anub, Zobihah, and the families of Aharhel, son of Haram. Jabez, ding, ding, ding. You know, the prayer of Jabez, this is where it comes from. Going down through this genealogy, and suddenly, bam, right here, Jabez. Verse 9, Jabez was more honored than his brothers. His mother named him Jabez and said, I gave birth to him in pain. Jabez called out to the God of Israel, if only you would bless me, extend my border, let your hand be with me, and keep me from harm so that I will not experience pain. And God granted his request. Shelah, brother of Shuhah, fathered Meher, who was the father of Eshton. Eshton fathered Beth Rapha, Paseah, and Tahinah, the father of Irnahash. These were the men of Rekah, Kenaz's sons, Othniel and Serah. Othniel's sons, Hathath and Meonothai. Meonothai fathered Ophrah. And Serah fathered Joab, the ancestor of those in the craftsman's valley, for they were craftsmen. The sons of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, Eru, Elah, and Naam. Elah's son, Kenaz. Jehalalel's sons, Ziph, Ziphah, Tiriah, and Asarel. Irzah's sons, Jether, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. Mered's wife, Bethiah, gave birth to Miriam, Shammai, and Ishbah, the father of Eshtemoa. These were the sons of Pharaoh's daughter, Bethiah. Mered had married her. His Judean wife gave birth to Jered, the father of Gedor, Heber, the father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, the father of Zanoah, the sons of Hadoah's wife, the sister of Naham, the father of Keilah, the Carmite, and the father of Eshtemoa, the Ma'akathite. Shimon's sons, Amnon, Renah, Ben-Hanan, and Telon. Ishi's sons, Zoheth and Beth-Zoheth. The sons of Shelah, son of Judah, the father of Lekah, Leadah, the father of Marishah, the families of the guild of linen workers at Beth Ashbea. Joachim, the men of Kozeba, and Joash, and Seraph, who married Moabites and returned to Lehem. These names are from ancient records. They were the potters and residents of Netaim and Gedera. They lived there in the service of the king. Simeon's son, see, second tribe. We've done, oh man. We've done Judah. Okay, now here we go. We're going to do Simeon, second tribe. Simeon's sons, Nemuel, Jamin, Jarib, Zerah, and Shaul. Shaul's sons, his son Shallum, his son Mibsam, his son Mishma, Mishma's son, his son Hamuel, his son Zachar, and his son Shimei. Shimei had 16 sons and 6 daughters, but his brothers did not have many children, so their whole family did not become as numerous as the Judeans. They lived in Beersheba, Molada, Hazar Shual, Bilhah, Ezem, Tolad, Bethuel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar Susim, Beth Beri, and Sha'arim. These were their cities until David became king. Their villages were Etam, Aitan, Rimmon, Token, and Asham, 5 cities, and all their surrounding villages as far as Baal. These were their settlements, and they kept a genealogical record for themselves. Meshobab, Jamlech, Shoshah, son of Amaziah. Joel, Jehu, son of Josibiah, son of Sariah, son of Asiel. Elioenai, Jaakobah, Jeshoiah, Asaiah, Adiel, Jesamiel, Benaiah, and Ziza, son of Shephi, son of Alan, son of Jediah, son of Shimri, son of Shemaiah. These mentioned by name were leaders in their families. Their ancestral houses increased greatly. They went to the entrance of Gedor to the east side of the valley to seek pasture for their flocks. They found rich, good pasture, and the land was broad, peaceful, and quiet, for some Hamites had lived there previously. Those who were recorded by name came in the days of King Hezekiah of Judah, attacked the Hamites' tents and the Menuhites who were found there, and set them apart for destruction, as they are today. Then they settled in their place because there was pasture for their flocks. Now, 500 men from these sons of Simeon went with Pelatiah, Neariah, Raphiah, and Uzziel, the descendants of Ishi, as their leaders to Mount Seir. They struck down the remnant of the Amalekites who had escaped, and they still live there today. And all of that, 1 Chronicles 4, gives us a genealogy of two great tribes. First, the tribe of Judah, and second, the tribe of Simeon. Now, we're coming to 1 Chronicles chapter 5, third tribe, Judah, Simeon, now Reuben. These were the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel. He was the firstborn, but his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph, son of Israel, because Reuben defiled his father's bed. He is not listed in the genealogy according to birthright. Although Judah became strong among his brothers and a ruler came from him, the birthright was given to Joseph. The sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Joel's sons, his son Shemaiah, his son Gog, his son Shimei, his son Micah, his son Reai, his son Baal, his son Beerah. Beerah was the leader of the Reubenites, and King Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria took him into exile. His relatives by their families, as they are recorded in the family records. Jael the chief, Zechariah and Bela, son of Azaz, son of Shema, son of Joel. They settled in Aroer as far as Nebo and Baal-Meon. They also settled in the east as far as the edge of the desert that extends to the Euphrates River, because their herds had increased in the land of Gilead. During Saul's reign, they waged war against the Hagrites, who were defeated by their power, and they lived in their tents throughout the region east of Gilead. Okay, so Reuben, we're part of this is to blow the dust off Israel's history and help the Jews in 430 BC. So how did we even end up where we were? Well, the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad, we're going to get to, then the half tribe of Manasseh, they were on the east side of the Jordan River. So naturally, when he talks about Reuben, he's talking about their conquest off to the east. Now Gad, the sons of Gad, lived next to them in the land of Bashan as far as Salakah. Joel the chief, Shapham the second in command, Janai and Shaphat in Bashan. Their relatives according to their ancestral houses, Michael, Meshulam, Sheba, Jorai, Jachin, Zia, and Eber, 7. These were the sons of Abiel, sons of Huri, son of Jeroah, son of Gilead, son of Michael, son of Jeshishai, son of Jado, son of Buz. Ahai, son of Abdiel, son of Gunai, was head of their ancestral family. They lived in Gilead and Bashan and its surrounding villages and throughout the pasture lands of Sharon. All of them were registered in the genealogies during the reigns of Judah's king Jotham and Israel's king Jeroboam. The descendants of Reuben and Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh had 44,760 warriors who could serve in the army, men who carried shield and sword, drew the bow, and were trained for war. They waged war against the Hagrites, Jeter, Naphish, and Nodab. They received help against these enemies because they cried out to God in battle, and the Hagrites and all their allies were handed over to them. He was receptive to their prayer because they trusted in him. They captured the Hagrites' livestock, 50,000 of their camels, 250,000 sheep, and 2,000 donkeys, as well as 100,000 people. Many of the Hagrites were killed because it was God's battle, and they lived there in the Hagrites' place until the exile. See what he's doing? He's saying, in 430 BC, you can look back and you can see the hand of God. Yes, northern 10 tribes were carried away. And yes, southern 2 tribes went into captivity and came back. But while they were in the land, when they turned to God, God did wonderful things for them. Again, blowing the dust off history. So these names are meant to tell the Jews something. God knows what he's doing. Now, on the east side of the Jordan River, you got Reuben, you got Gad, and Manasseh was a huge tribe. So part of it was on the west side, and one part, half the tribe, was on the east side. Verse 23, the descendants of half the tribe of Manasseh settled in the land from Bashan to Baal Hermon, that is Senir or Mount Hermon. They were numerous. These are the heads of their ancestral families: Epher, Ishi, Eliel, Azriel, Jeremiah, Hodaviah, and Jahdiel. They were valiant warriors, famous men, and heads of their ancestral houses, but they were unfaithful to the God of their ancestors. They prostituted themselves with the gods of the nations God had destroyed before them. So the God of Israel roused the spirit of King Pul, that is Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria, and he took the Reubenites, Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh into exile. He took them to Halah, Habor, Harah, and Gozan's river, where they are until today. This is blowing off the history. What happened to these tribes in the east? They were taken away, and most of them, and this is now, it would be almost 300 years earlier when this happened, and the descendants of these tribes, they're in Assyrian territory to this day. Okay, now, chapter 6, we're going to get more detail, much more detail, about the Levites and the descendants of Aaron, because they are going to serve in the temple that Zerubbabel rebuilt. Not as big, but it was the temple of God in Jerusalem. Levi's sons, Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. Kohath's sons, Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Amram's children, Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. See? Got that? Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu. We talked about them in Leviticus. Eleazar and Ithamar. Eleazar fathered Phinehas. We've run into Eleazar and Phinehas a number of times. Phinehas fathered Abishua. Abishua fathered Bukai. Bukai fathered Uzai. Uzai fathered Zerahiah. Zerahiah fathered Moriah. Moriah fathered Amariah. Amariah fathered Ahitub. Ahitub fathered Zadok. Big name there. Zadok fathered Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz fathered Azariah. Azariah fathered Johanan. Johanan fathered Azariah, who served as priest in the temple that Solomon built in Jerusalem. See, this is ding, ding, ding. We're being given a time here, a time frame. Now, Azariah fathered Amariah. Amariah fathered Ahitub. Ahitub fathered Zadok. Zadok fathered Shallum. Shallum fathered Hilkiah. Hilkiah fathered Azariah. Azariah fathered Sariah. And Sariah fathered Jehozadak. Jehozadak went into exile when the Lord sent Judah and Jerusalem into exile at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. So you've gone in verse 10 from Solomon, about the 900s. Now down in verse 15, you're 586 BC. We're just tracing them down here. But these are the Levites, Levi's sons, Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. These are the names of Gershom's sons, Libni, Shimei. Kohath's sons, Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Merari's sons, Malai and Mushai. These are the Levites' families according to their fathers. Of Gershon, his son Libni, his son Jahath, his son Zimmah, his son Joah, his son Iddo, his son Zerah, his son Jeatheri. Kohath's sons, his son Aminadab, his son Korah, his son Aser, his son Elkanah, his son Ebiasath, his son Aser, his son Tahath, his son Uriel, his son Uzziah, his son Shaul. Elkanah's sons, Amasai, Ahimoth, his son Elkanah, his son Zophai, his son Nahath, his son Eliab, his son Jehoram, his son Elkanah. Samuel's sons, his firstborn Joel, his second son Abijah. Merari's sons, Malai, his son Libni, his son Shimei, his son Uzzah, his son Shimei, his son Haggiah, his son Asaiah. Now, the musicians, verse 31. So we've talked about the Levites. Who's making the music here? Verse 31, these are the men David put in charge of the music in the Lord's temple after the ark came to rest there. They ministered with song in front of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, until Solomon built the Lord's temple in Jerusalem, and they performed their task according to the regulations given to them. These are the men who served with their sons. From the Kohathites, Heman the singer, son of Joel, son of Samuel, son of Elkanah, son of Jeroam, son of Eliel, son of Toah, son of Zeus, son of Elkanah, son of Mahath, son of Amasai, son of Elkanah, son of Joel, son of Azariah, son of Zephaniah, son of Tahath, son of Aser, son of Abiasaph, son of Korah, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, son of Israel. Heman's relative was Asaph, who stood at his right hand. Asaph, son of Berechiah, son of Shimei, son of Michael, son of Baasiah, son of Malchijah, son of Ethni, son of Zerah, son of Adiah, son of Ethan, son of Zimhah, son of Shimei, son of Jahath, son of Gershom, son of Levi. On the left, their relatives were Merari's sons, Ethan, son of Kishi, son of Abdi, son of Malach, son of Hashabiah, son of Amaziah, son of Hilkiah, son of Amzi, son of Bani, son of Shemer, son of Mali, son of Mushai, son of Merari, son of Levi. Their relatives, the Levites, were assigned to all the service of the tabernacle, God's temple. But Aaron and his sons did all the work of the most holy place. They presented the offerings on the altar of burnt offerings and on the altar of incense to make atonement for Israel according to all that Moses, the servant of God, had commanded. These are Aaron's sons: his son Eleazar, his son Phinehas, his son Abishua, his son Bukai, his son Uzai, his son Zerahiah, his son Meriah, his son Amariah, his son Ahitub, his son Zadok, his son Ahimaaz. These were the places assigned to Aaron's descendants from the Kohathite family for their settlement in their territory, because the first lot was for them. They were given Hebron in the land of Judah and its surrounding pasture lands, but the fields and settlements around the city were given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh. Aaron's descendants were given Hebron, a city of refuge, Libnah and its pasture lands, Jatir, Eshtemoa and its pasture lands, Highland and its pasture lands, Deber and its pasture lands, Ashan and its pasture lands, Bethshemesh and its pasture lands. From the tribe of Benjamin they were given Geba and its pasture lands, Alameth and its pasture lands, and Anathoth and its pasture lands. They had 13 towns in all among their families. To the rest of the Kohathites, 10 towns from half the tribe of Manasseh were assigned by lot. The Gershonites were assigned 13 towns from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, and Bashan, according to their families. The Merarites were assigned by lot 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, Zebulun, according to their families. So the Israelites gave these towns and their pasture lands to the Levites. They assigned by lot the towns named above from the tribes of the descendants of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. Some of the families of the Kohathites were given towns from the tribe of Ephraim for their territory. Shechem, a city of refuge with its pasture lands in the hill country of Ephraim, Gezer and its pasture lands, Jokmeam and its pasture lands, Beth Horon and its pasture lands, Aijalon and its pasture lands, Gath-Rimmon and its pasture lands. For half the tribe of Manasseh, Aner and its pasture lands, by Liam and its pasture lands were given to the rest of the families of the Kohathites. The Gershomites received Golan and Bashan and its pasture lands, and Ashtaroth and its pasture lands from the families of half the tribe of Manasseh. From the tribe of Issachar, they received Kedesh and its pasture lands, Dabereth and its pasture lands, Ramoth and its pasture lands, and Anim and its pasture lands. From the tribe of Asher, they received Mashal and its pasture lands, Abnon and its pasture lands, Hukok and its pasture lands, and Rehob and its pasture lands. From the tribe of Naphtali, they received Kedesh in Galilee and its pasture lands, Hamon and its pasture lands, and Kiriathaim and its pasture lands. The rest of the Merarites received from the tribe of Zebulun, they received Rimono and its pasture lands, and Tabor and its pasture lands. From the tribe of Reuben across the Jordan at Jericho, to the east of the Jordan, they received Bezer in the desert and its pasture lands, Jazah and its pasture lands, Kedemoth and its pasture lands, and Mephaath and its pasture lands. From the tribe of Gath, they received Ramoth in Gilead and its pasture lands, Mahanaim and its pasture lands, Heshbon and its pasture lands, and Jazer and its pasture lands. We're just blowing the dust, friends. We're just blowing the dust off these yearbooks found in the attic of Israel's history. Judah, Simeon, Reuben, Gad, half the tribe of Manasseh, Levi, and all of this about these cities in the pasture lands, showing the people of God in 430 BC how important it was that the Levites and the descendants of Aaron, how important they were, how important the worship of God was in his plan. All these lands, these cities, by 430 BC, controlled largely by the Gentiles. But God is saying, I want you to know what these men are doing, these worship leaders are doing. They are bringing you into my presence, and it's okay. It's good. It's right. This is my plan for you. Okay, we're done for the day. I just want to say it again. God's got a plan for you, and certainly his plan is emphasized here. It's personal. You're not out there floating. You come from somewhere in God's plan. You are somewhere in God's plan. And guess what? You are going somewhere in God's plans. You fit. You have a place in God's yearbook. You're there by God's calling. So we will be glad. We will rejoice. God knows what he's doing, and he is doing it. He is going to complete his work in you until the day of Jesus Christ. We are confident of that. Confident. All right, then. Go out and have a great day. And guess what? Come back tomorrow. You won't believe what tomorrow is. More names. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. We'll see you then. Have a great day.